Welcome, everyone. Just getting myself ready here. I am back for another In Front of the Camera podcast. As you noticed, I've been working on projects that are about having me behind the camera. And so I thought that today I would just come back in front of the camera and let you guys know what I've been working on. And as you can see, my focus has been on interior design spaces, and I've been having quite a bit of fun doing that, mainly for the TikTok and the YouTube channel. I would say the shorts for YouTube have been doing fairly well, and the TikTok channel, which I separated from the studio channel, that's picking up some steam. And so I'm going to share with you guys what I've been seeing as far as analytics and what my approach is going to be from now going forward. So let me see here. All right. I have to bring up my websites. Okay. All right, so here's YouTube. I did get up to 23 subscribers, and then I lost one. And I think that for me, the shift towards featuring the interior design spaces or showrooms is going to be the most effective in terms of growing the channel, because that's what the audience is really reacting to. Now, the thing I did learn over the past couple of weeks or so, and mainly especially the past week, is that if I'm bringing in music from Canva, then it seems like on TikTok and YouTube is going to get, I don't want to say suppressed, but it's not going to get pushed out as much. And so what I'm going to have to do is on YouTube, if I add music to the clip, I'm going to have to pull something from the YouTube library. And then, of course, on TikTok, it's a lot easier to pull music, and I have my favorites on there. It's a lot easier to pull music to add to my video clips. But I was thinking that, especially for the feature video that I did at RH, for this one, I wanted the landscape format to have music behind it, and actually it's not doing that bad compared to the other landscape videos I have on here. But I have to just share it more, promote it more. But this is basically the direction that I'm going in terms of visiting different showrooms, and just looking at my favorite setups that they have, or presentations that they have, and recording those. And I've been getting more and more feedback from this type of content. So I think this year I've tested out what actually works and doesn't work. And at this point, it's pretty clear that the showroom spaces are getting the most, just the most engagement. So let me go ahead and jump into the analytics portion of this. Okay, so I'm going to compare the same clip that I have on YouTube and TikTok. Now, this is my most popular, I would say, on TikTok. So let me pull this one up as well. Here we go. Now, of course, I did get 3 comments on this. I got bookmarks. I might have a few shares, I'm not sure. But this by far is my most popular because I have 135 likes. And I posted this on August 28th. And the thing that really sticks out to me is that within the past 18 to 20 hours, I'm still getting likes and engagement on the video. So that's a good sign that it's staying on people's feed for that long. Because today is September 12th. So it's pretty unusual. Now, I will say this little detail down here is extremely important. Most viewers stop watching at 2 seconds. Play the video to see why they lost interest. And I have to say that that's the most startling thing, because these clips are like anywhere between 30 seconds and 60, right? I'm really not going over 60 seconds because I'm taking what I'm posting on the YouTube shorts, which it caps out at 60 seconds, and I'm sharing it on TikTok and comparing them, basically the same time frame, practically posting them at the same time and looking at how long they stay relevant in people's feeds as they're scrolling through, how long people actually watch the video, and then looking at engagement as well. And I would say YouTube is a little bit longer, maybe 4 seconds as far as how long people would watch, but TikTok for sure, all the videos I've looked at, 2 seconds. The likes come within 2 seconds, or they scroll past. I think the benefit with TikTok is there's no dislike button. If they don't like it, they just keep scrolling. And I think on YouTube, if they dislike it, you get downgraded in the algorithm, or however the algorithm works. So, that's the difference there. I would say overall, I'm getting much more views for, because right now I've got 1.6 thousand for the living room. And on YouTube, I've got 448, and I've added 1 subscriber from this particular video. Now on here, the average view duration on YouTube Shorts is 17 seconds, which is crazy. I didn't think it was that high. The average percentage of the video that's viewed, now the video is 27 seconds long. So most people, I guess they stop, let's go 50%. 50% of the people stopped after 15 seconds, I believe. That's how it's broken up. And then you have some that's up to 132%, which means that they watched the video more than once, right? They let the 27 seconds go through, and then they watch some of it, the beginning parts. So there's that. So in comparison, 17 seconds is a lot longer than 2. But yeah, look at the beginning at 100% for the numbers here. And then it goes to 74% at 1 second. And let me see if it drops. Now, once the video gets to 2 seconds, 40% of the audience stayed until that point, to the 2-second mark. If I'm reading this correctly, 3 seconds, it drops to 28%. 4 seconds, 21%. And let's see how, yeah. At the 13-second mark, 7% of the audience made it that far. Which when I saw that, I mean, it's depressing, to be honest, but I just realized that whatever your, I don't want to say screenshot, but whatever your video screenshot is, or video cover is, that has to look really good. Or I should say, not even a video cover. Wherever your video starts, that part needs to be the best part of the video, right? To pull the viewer in, or to get them to stay at least until the 4-second mark on TikTok. And of course on the YouTube shorts to get them to stay longer. But whatever that first, wherever your video starts, that needs to be the best part of, in particular, my videos of the interior. Because the first comment that I got is one of the ladies commented on the columns in here. And she says the columns really caught her attention. That's what she liked. And that's where my video starts. So as they're scrolling through their feed, that's what popped up. The other thing that I noticed is the traffic source. So people are seeing this in their For You, under their For You tab. So on YouTube, you have content that you follow. You have the tab that's For You, which is, I guess, the algorithm kind of looks at your viewing patterns and basically recommends videos that you're not, from creators you're not subscribed to. That's in your For You tab. So that's where my video is seen almost 97% of the time, which means that even if I'm on my profile, I have a different cover than where the video starts, almost 97% of the time, people aren't going to see that cover. They're just going to be scrolling through their For You tab, and they're going to land on wherever your video starts. So, I mean, the search results is 1.4%, which isn't a lot. Other, which I don't know what that means, is 1.1%. As far as views on the profile page, is 0.6%. So it's not a lot. People don't actually come to my profile and start looking at videos. They're scrolling through and the video is recommended to them. So that's how the work is being found. Now, the other thing I found interesting is the search queries. RH living rooms is 14.3%. Contemporary living room, 14%. Same thing with RH. Dining room ideas, 9.5%. Inspired living room from RH. So people know, or they're familiar with the brand, RH's brand. So I'm titling my videos with RH. I just didn't know how familiar people would be with the brand because I didn't even know they existed until I moved here and I started just sightseeing, and I just ran into their store, their showroom that's in the area. So that's very interesting. So that's helpful if you're trying to figure out, okay, how did people find the video? And how are they viewing the video when they first see it? and we have the average watch time is 4.34 seconds, and the total playtime is going on 2 hours. Now, the only thing with the stats is this chart only shows the first 7 days of the video's lifespan, right? And after that, I'm not getting any analytics or any stats for how many people are still viewing the video. But like I said, I did notice the past few days that I'm still getting likes and bookmarks, so that's good. So yeah, 135 likes is the most successful video I have so far. So that's a good sign. Now, in terms of YouTube, for this particular video, I had 8 views the first hour. Within the first 6 hours, I had 52 views. And then it really jumped up within hour 5, between hour 5 and hour 10. And then it pretty much peaked after that. So I noticed with YouTube, the amount of time that the short is in other people's feeds is not very long. Once it starts, sometimes there's like a delay on some of my videos to when I start getting views. Even up to 12 hours. Some videos, like the first 12 hours, is just nothing, and then all of a sudden they'll spike. And so I'm not sure exactly what that's about. But the good thing is that I do have 18 days worth of data here. Yeah, and there's maybe a few views. I lost here it is. Yeah, but once it peaked at that 10-hour mark, I really haven't gotten much after that. As far as days down, days after that. So first 9 days, 3 hours, I probably got another 3 views within that time span, and you'll have people trickle in here and there, but for this video in particular, it's not very much. I don't think I've gotten anything in the way of comments on this one, but I do notice that, like I said, once I get a dislike on the video, it just crashes. Like it just stops. The short I posted yesterday of the patio. Now, it's this, in this particular case, I've got 515 views. The average view duration is 13 seconds. The average view time, like how much of the 34 seconds that people view, is a little over 39%, which compared to TikTok is not bad. Now, this same video that I posted yesterday, let me see if I can go back. Let me see if I can go. All right. So TikTok, I'm at 214. I've got 2 likes compared to, I think it was 11 likes on this one. I believe it was 11. Yep. Okay. So I got 11 likes and 3 dislikes for this one. And it's almost 79% positive for this. And I did get one subscriber from this particular video. But yeah, 111% at 3 seconds. And then 50% of everyone of the audience viewed up to 8 seconds, and then they were gone. It's crazy because I was thinking that 34 seconds is really short, but the audience isn't even staying that long. I mean, to be honest, like most of the audience is not staying that long. So if I get to 30 seconds of the video, 13% of the audience is still there. We got 33 seconds, 34 seconds, 9% of the audience got that far, got to the end of the video. So yeah, 34 seconds, man, that's, gosh. It's like short attention span, for sure. But yeah, I would say this one peaked at about 8 hours. And then it just plateaued. That was it. It hit the ceiling. I have a few more. I was at 509. I got 6 more views after that. And I think that's all. That's as high as I'm going to get. And then it's out of the feed and you do something else. Now, I tried to go in 12-hour patterns before, because I was like, okay, if on YouTube the video stays in the feed 12 hours, well, why don't I just post a short and then schedule another post 12 hours later? When I started doing that, I found that the second video I posted, you know, because you post one, 12 hours later, post another one. The second video I posted didn't do very well on the occasions that I tried that. And I think the best, let me see, there's an example that I have of this where I tried it and it was just like, okay, that's not working. So we're going to go to the lamps. And the first, I can't get a number up. See the first 20 hours? The first 20 hours of the video, I got 3 views. And I was like, okay, what's going on? So then I decided to not post anything, right? Or add another short to the feed. And I just said, okay, maybe I can't post them back to back the way that I thought. And then you would see 22 hours, I got 6 views. And then 25 hours, I had 23 views. And then all of a sudden, one day, 8 hours later, it went through the roof. And I had 427 views. So that's when I realized that the algorithm for YouTube wants to take its time in getting one video out to people and seeing how they respond to that. And once you hit that mark and it plateaus, because you see it's doing the same thing, it caps out. Once the algorithm starts pushing the video out, within like an 8-hour span, you're going to get all the views that you're going to get. And then it's going to plateau. And that's basically it. So I'm at the 10-day, 10-hour mark, 436, right? At the 5-day, 3-hour mark, I was at 435. So it's very rare that once it plateaus after that 8 to 10 hour window where the algorithm pushes it out, um, that's pretty much all you're going to get unless I guess you can boost your YouTube short. But yeah, that's it. I think the longest, climb that I got before it plateaued was like 12 hours. So I would say 8 to 12 hours within that window. Just let the algorithm do whatever it's going to do as far as pushing the video out into people's feeds. And yeah. And then once you see it plateau and it just, I don't want to say stabilizes, but it gets as far as it's going to go, then you can look at, okay, what else do I want to post? But again, duration 13 seconds. Average percentage viewed is a little over 28%. Okay, so at 50% or about 50% of the audience got to 7 seconds. And this is a 46-second clip or short. So it's not very long. So again, it's like, and I thought this video started in a really good place, like where I wanted on the main part of the interior that I wanted to feature. But yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's crazy how quickly people go through content, right? So, yeah. All right, let me go. Now, the landscape one that I took for RH, I added that to the YouTube short. And it's basically the same clip, it's just in the portrait format. It did not do very well. It just didn't do very well. And I think in part is because of the music that I attached to it from Canva. I think that has something to do with it because I did get a copyright disclaimer on it, but then you get a little caption that says it shouldn't suppress your video, but I kind of think it does. So what I'm going to do on my next YouTube short and video is, like I said, either leave the audio or the music out or add music from the YouTube library, which I have to figure out where that button is for that. But there's a whole library of stuff, of music that YouTube has. But yeah, the latest video, it did better than the one on TikTok. It just depends. It depends. So yeah, I'm for the most part posting the videos at the same time, looking at what the audience does, how they respond. But again, I think what the highest or the longest duration I have for average viewer time was like 17 seconds. And that was for YouTube. For TikTok is definitely 2 to 4 seconds at most. You get the like or the bookmark or whatever it is that they're gonna do in a very, very short period of time. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm thinking that looking at the content that I want to make, I'm going to end up being behind the camera a lot more. I'm still going to try to say hello to you guys, and I guess I can say periodically, but the content that I'm working on now is much more behind the camera and capturing as much footage as I possibly can, and then building onto my library of music and soundtracks, etc., so that I can have a lot more options when putting the video together or videos together. And it's just time consuming. What else is there? Oh, hold on. Let me grab this. Okay. All right. So this is my trial version for Final Cut Pro. I mean, it's okay. I was supposed to watch a tutorial for this, and then I got bored, and so I decided to just open it up and start playing around with things. And then if I run into a wall or something like that, then I would go on YouTube and look up something specific on where I was stuck. But other than that, I mean, I think I've caught on to pretty much the basics of how to put the videos together. The only thing is, like, okay, so I'm using my DSLR to capture the footage of showrooms, right? When I switch it to a portrait format for TikTok or for YouTube Shorts, I'm going to have to give myself more space, because basically I capture the video in a way that I don't have to do a lot of clipping or cropping or editing. I'm just dropping in different scenes right there. I've already got an idea of how I want the flow of the video to go. So, because I'm really not excited about sitting in front of the monitor for hours and editing, putting all the clips together. So, I try to be really concise on the video that I do capture. Get the idea. If I have to go through multiple takes, which is pretty common, go ahead and do that. But once I get the take that I want, move on, to the next thing. So that's how I do it. But the problem is, when you take a shot like this, and you cut off the sides of it. Let me see if I can move it there. And you trim off the sides, then in the portrait format, it looks funny. I mean, it just does. So Saturday morning, I think I'm going to go back to RH, and I'm probably not going to capture this room again, but it's probably, because this is on the second floor. It's a huge showroom. So I thought I was going to end up capturing more video, but the place is bigger than I expected, or bigger than I thought. And there's so many different angles that I need to capture or want to capture, that it's going to take me more time than I thought to get the shots that I want. This is the second room that I can put together. And then this here is another room, but I don't know, it just seems fuzzy. Especially this clip here. I was trying to do this in a way that I just ran through it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem as crisp, clear with the focus as I thought. It's easier to do this with my phone, but the fall off with the light that you can get with a DSLR, I like that better. Like with my iPhone, I can take a 4K 60 frame per second video, which is great. But the problem is with the lighting, it's too, I like the lighting better with the DSLR. The problem with the DSLR is getting my focus correct consistently, and constantly having to correct the focus when I'm moving from one point to the next point in the room. It's just a lot harder to do. The iPhone does everything on automatic unless you actually set a focal point on the camera. But going from near to far on the phone is a lot easier from going near to far with the camera, right? Because your focal point is going to be set on one point, say it's something in the foreground, and then as you move to midground to background, all of a sudden the focus is going to become a lot softer. So it's a limit there. So what I'm going to look into is, and I did look at some tutorials of this, is how, if I'm going to use my phone, can I tweak the lighting so that the lighting doesn't look so stark, and I get that same gradual fall off with the light that I can with the DSLR. And I've seen it a little bit with other content creators, but yeah, definitely the look of the DSLR for me, it has much more of a film quality to it. I think one shot, I think it was the last one. Yeah, this one, this is when I ran into the focal point problem where you just lose the sharpness depending on where you are. So if I run this, so I'm trying to move throughout the entire space pretty quickly, like within 60 seconds, right? The problem is I'm losing focus all over the place. And so now everything's blurry, right? So if I set my focal point on the window shades, by the time I get to the opposite side of the room, a lot of the image is going to be out of focus. So that's with a DSLR. If I do this with my phone, the phone is going to naturally adjust as I move throughout the space it's just going to pick a focal point, but something's going to be in focus. So yeah, there's that. So I'm going to do a test run. The plan is on Saturday morning, and do a comparison and see how that goes. So the still shots like this one, DSLR is fine. The shots with more movement, I think that's going to have to be on the phone. Unless I'm very careful with the movement. It's going to have to be kind of slow and deliberate so that I don't lose focus on whatever the subject is. And then this particular shot, It's just working on my composition. Try to get something interesting. I should have enough video for this particular room, even though some of the clips didn't come out right. I should have enough for this. And then this is the pillow where it's out of focus deliberately, and then you go in focus. And so I think that's pretty cool to have that. And it's basically a still shot. You're just fixing the focus on it. There's that. I also tried it again with this particular shot, but the LCD screen on my camera is really hard to. It's harder now for me to see it, to see where my focal point is. If I'm taking a photograph, looking through the viewfinder, it's fine. I can see everything pretty clearly. But if I'm capturing video, everything pops up on a little LCD screen. And oh my gosh, I couldn't see it like I used to, as far as focal point. And it's funny because last year my doctor was telling me that, oh, Mr. Jackson, as you get older, your eye muscles are going to get weaker and you're going to have trouble focusing on smaller things. It's like getting reading glasses, right? And at first I was like, what are you trying to say, doctor? Like what are you trying to say? You're trying to say I'm getting old or something? I don't know. But yeah, he told me that last year that I was going to have to come back this year on my annual checkup and probably get progressive lenses because, yeah. These that I got, which I really like, he had to, it was weird. My mid-range to long-range vision has gotten better. I know it's weird. But then my eye muscles have gotten weaker. So sometimes when I'm reading something, I'm noticing that it takes my eyes longer for me to focus down on the words. So as we're going through the eye test, I was like, why is sometimes my vision on smaller letters fuzzy? So yeah, that's when he went into the speech and as we get older and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not getting old. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so I noticed it again on Saturday looking at the viewfinder on the camera. I was like, oh my gosh, my eyes were taking longer to adjust. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to get progressives where they put like a strip at the bottom of the lens so that I'm going to have to read sort of looking down because the prescription is going to change at the bottom, which I think is going to be awkward. But at this point, I don't want to get like 2 sets of glasses. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But then he said that because I have an astigmatism, especially in my left eye, but he said that also as we get older, our eyes start to contract. So obviously our eyes are supposed to be shaped like an orange. When you have astigmatism, your eyes are shaped like an egg. So it's kind of a little bit oblong. So my eyes are starting to contract and they're like correcting themselves as I get older, which is weird, like I said. So instead of being shaped like an egg, they're contracting more into a circle where they were supposed to be in the first place, which I didn't know that happened. But so now, even if I take my glasses off, I can still see clearer because my vision's starting to correct itself. But again, like I said, eye muscles to focus on smaller things. Oh my goodness. It's just, I don't know. I have to complain. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm going to work on this between this evening and probably especially tomorrow. I did get my my gear and everything charged up in case I run out of battery, and then I can switch it out. But and then the other problem is lighting in general and color balance with the DSLR. Again, it doesn't shift automatically. So where the chair is here is pretty dark because it's more so away from the window. But then here, it's a lot brighter. So I constantly had to change my ISO in order to try to keep the lighting consistent, right? Because I didn't want to go from the room looks really bright to the room looks a lot darker. Right. So that happened with some of the images too. Now, if you're using your phone, again, your phone is going to switch automatically if there's a major shift in the lighting. So then all the video is going to come out consistently. So that's why I say when I get to that last capture, I'm just gonna record it on the phone. Yeah, because it can go from the light is kind of, dim to the light is pretty bright. Like bright. And if you're watching once all the clips are together and you go from really light to something that's kind of dull, it throws you off. It's noticeable. And then the other thing about color is color balance is that you notice, what's a really good one? This is a good one. See the light over here is white, right? The light here in the foreground is orange. And that's because the light bulbs are probably tungsten, I want to say. But then the light coming from outside is daylight, which is like 5,600 Kelvin. And I know it's a little, not a little, it's backwards as far as the color temperature. It's like fire. If you see fire that's orange, that's actually on the cooler side of the spectrum as far as Kelvin temperature. So anything that's orange, it's on the cooler side. Once you start going to blue, as far as the color of the flame, because you see like on gas stoves, you have that blue flame on the bottom. And then it goes up to orange. The blue flame is actually hotter in temperature than the orange that's above it. Now, if you see a flame that's white, like this over here, that's really bad news. Like really bad. So, but that's the temperature of daylight is white. And then as it gets cooler, it goes to blue, and then it gets cooler, it changes to orange. What you don't want to have in the video is the color temperature jumping from orange to somewhere in between to white, because it's going to be, to me, it's jarring. Like it aggravates me if I see that. So what I try to do when I set my color with a white balance or color temperature on the camera I do want to go daylight, which is what's coming out of the window, the natural light. Um, but if you have a lot of tungsten, change the white balance on your camera to tungsten so that the orange is not going to be orange. It's going to, once you change it to tungsten, it's going to look closer to white, right? Um, and then you're going to run into situations where you're going to have a mixture like this one. You have tungsten here, which you see that little bit of orange that's in the shot, but then you look at the window and the lighting is white. So for me, on this one, I set the camera temperature to daylight, which is to match the light that's coming in from outside, which is white. So the light coming from outside through the windows is white. The tungsten, it's just going to be orange. I can't fix that, right? But if you walk into a space where you don't really have a lot of natural light coming in and you have a lot of tungsten light that's got that orange auburn color, change your camera settings, your white balance on your camera to tungsten, because otherwise, where you present your video or your presentation, you're just going to have orange light everywhere and it doesn't look good to me. Yeah, for sure. Let me see if I have another one that's mixed. Yeah, see, you have the orange tungsten light, but then you have a lot of light coming through, natural light coming through the window. So yeah, whatever the predominant light is, that's what you capture it as. Now, if I was taking a close-up shot of the fabric that's here, let me see, do I have any close-ups? Like this, if I was taking a close-up of this, it's the same area, predominantly daylight coming through, natural light coming through. But since you're so close to the subject or whatever you're capturing, this is mostly tungsten light that's showing. So you would have to change your white balance of tungsten for this close up. Because again, if you're jumping from white to a lot of orange to somewhere in between, it gets jarring, right? So when you're capturing photography and or video for a project, try to consistently be in one category with the white balance as much as possible. Either something that's predominantly tungsten or predominantly natural light, daylight. Because then if you're kind of in between on a whole bunch of shots, it looks weird to me. It's just, I mean, for me personally, it bothers me. And let me see. I don't think you can go to the staff and say you guys need to change all of your light bulbs to daylight light bulbs instead of tungsten, because I don't know, I just think it would look better. That's not happening. I don't think they're gonna go with that. But yeah, you can see on the back wall that's natural light, but then that tungsten is just, the image looks orange. The video is gonna look orange. So I have to be mindful of that as well. Now, if you're capturing this with your phone, like the whole thing, everything close-ups, or stuff that's far away, mid-range, you're capturing everything with your phone. I believe you can set the white balance on your phone. I'm not quite sure because I haven't really messed with those, like the presets and everything in my phone, but I believe you can do that. That is possible. But if you're going between natural light, tungsten light, you're going to have to decide what you want to stick with. And then if you bring it into Final Cut Pro, I'm thinking that you should be able to edit the white balance. The only problem with doing that post while you're editing is the conversion is not going to be as clean. It's not going to look as natural as it does if you just manually change your camera to the right white balance for that particular shot. And I've done my comparisons, like my side by sides, and I can tell, like, just if you do it in post, it doesn't look as natural. It looks more manufactured, which I don't like. This one's difficult because you can see at the edge of the bed, that's natural light. There is so much tungsten light coming in over everything else. That's rough. So yeah, this is a I would say just try both. The daylight and the tungsten on this one and see which one looks the best. Because man, this is heavy with the orange. I don't know if there's. I would probably lean towards changing this to tungsten just because the pillows look bad. The lampshades don't look good. The only thing that looks clean is this part, the end of the bed, at the foot of the bed where it's white. It goes into orange so fast. That's crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of, now on this angle, there's not a lot of orange. There's some orange with the tungsten lighting here on the shelves, but everything else, the lighting coming through this window is doing pretty good. Yeah, because you want the colors on the bed. Well, colors are everywhere. You want the colors to look natural. And they look the most natural when the lighting is white. So any type of color tone, you want to get rid of that as much as possible. Because especially if you're presenting this to like high profile clientele in your portfolio, you want everything to look really pristine, really good. So the staff did tell me that they don't do any marketing. Oh, this one's a lot better. They don't do any marketing, but for me, this is more towards portfolio material, whatever I can share on YouTube and TikTok, and that just helps me see what the audience responds to. Yeah, it just helps me to see whatever the audience responds to. Now, if there's something that's really maybe like a 10-second clip that's really good, maybe I can just put that on TikTok and YouTube and see how it goes. That's a thought. That's a thought. Since the audience, especially on TikTok, seems to not stick around very long anyway. So just maybe I can feature like the best parts of a certain room and see what people's reactions are. So, but yeah, just trying to get 10 to 15 seconds per take that looks pretty good, like as best as I possibly can get it to look. And then I would say do like a 50 to 55-second long clip of the entire area, um, and have that be its own clip as well. So see how those do. But yeah, it was really fun. Um, and as I've shared before, I'm not the most outgoing person. Um, so I had butterflies for sure when I first got there. And of course, you have cameras around and security and people kind of looking like, what, you're like, what are you doing? And of course, I met with the staff before I started. Actually, two of them before I started filming, just to make sure I had permission and stuff like that. But yeah, I try to go during the first hour and a half, 2 hours that the showroom is open. So I'm trying to get in, get out before a whole bunch of traffic comes through. So I'm not interfering with their normal business operations, things like that. So yeah, they open up at 10 a.m., which is great for me. And I would say by 11:30, 12, have all the footage that I need for a couple of weeks, you know, and come home, get take a break, and then start my editing. The only downside with my camera too is that I have the 5D Mark II, which it does not capture anything in 4K. So as far as what I've seen online, as far as what other creators push out there, we get a lot of stuff in 4K. I'm starting to see video in 8K, which is crazy. But for me, I feel like I'm fine with what I have right now. And then if everything continues to grow, I can upgrade my camera gear. But it's very expensive. Like it's very expensive. And then I also thought about I could get a camcorder in 4K for like $100 and something, $200. But again, I don't think that it has the DSLR quality of it that I would like. But yeah, I'll see how that goes. One thing that I did notice before I go is, let me see if I can pull this up. If I go to popular videos, this particular one is number 5. And I captured this one at Lowe's. It only has 6 likes, but in terms of the analytics, TikTok is ranking it as number 5. And there are a few places around that I can capture scenes like this, but yeah, it's got 1.7 thousand views. Again, average watch time is 2.9 seconds. Only 0.9% of viewers watch the full video. I don't know. It just took a little bit of the steam out of me. But anyway, on the For You page, it was a little over 95% of people found it on their For You page. Most viewers stopped watching at 1 second, which is crazy. But then I look in the search results. There's a Lowe's water fountain, water fountain indoor, that type thing. So I get an idea of what people are searching for. And they're actually using TikTok and of course YouTube as like a search engine of information. And so what do I want to show to them? So that leads me back to my original point of, I think that as far as creating content, I'm going to be behind the camera instead of in front of the camera, because what I want to capture, I'm going to be behind the camera a lot more opposed to in front of it. But like I said, I want to come back periodically and give you guys updates to where I am. But my main focus right now is creating high quality content that people are looking for, searching for, and seeing where that goes. And I think the other thing that you guys will probably notice is that my playlist, I probably deleted half of them. Because I had like 12, 13, 14 different playlists. I wasn't really using them all. And I found out how to consolidate most of that into 6 playlists. So this is what I'm going to focus on in terms of creating content. And I realized that it really does help with ranking higher with the algorithm when you post something consistently. So then your channel will get recommended more often because the algorithm knows what type of content you post on a regular basis. So yeah, it's going to be about the artwork, the interior designs, and some writing. I think it's going to be less commentary. And then the commentary that I do have is going to be focused on the book content, poetry, story writing, that type thing. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And the videos that I've seen so far about building a channel, I mean, they've all said like your subscribers are important but not as important, because as long as you're making good content, you're going to get recommended in people's feeds. So, and I mean, I've tested it out with the channels that I follow. Like a lot of channels that I don't even follow come up in my feed just because I watched a few pieces of their, some of their content. So once the algorithm finds out, like, okay, you have a pattern of watching this type of content, all different types of creators who create that type of content on certain subjects end up in my feed. And so I feel like, okay, what do I want to be known for? Like, what's 3 main things that I want to be known for? So, of course, there's the fine art photography, there's the creative writing, but I think the interior design also links in with that. And like I said, the interior design spaces are getting the most traction. Obviously, I'm looking at creating presentations, or more presentations, I should say, for the fine art photography. And I also want to get into for the creative writing, I want to get into motion graphics, but I think I'm going to have to learn Adobe Premiere or a piece of software like that um, to get that done. I'm going to have to learn that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I am. The last thing I'll say before I go, it was funny because one of the staff members at RH, I felt like they really didn't like me when I first got there. And again, got permission to take video, things like that. I felt like I was being followed a little bit or a lot while I was going through there trying to decide, okay, what am I gonna capture for this morning or for that particular morning? And again, like I said, I was nervous, like just nervous. But it's like when I'm actually capturing the video, everything else disappears. Like the nerves are gone. I'm just locked into the frame is gonna, the composition is gonna be here. I'm gonna go this way. It's gonna line up with this. I'm looking at my camera dials and everything, making sure everything is right. And I'm in the middle of capturing the room, right? And then I'm kind of going through my camera, like looking at what I captured, right? And saying, okay, what do I need to get next? Or did this turn out right? And the person that was really seemed like she was really upset that I was there in the beginning, like an hour before. She was going around fixing everything, like making sure the pillows were right, making sure the blankets were right, making sure the lighting was right. And I'm like, no, everything looks really good. Like, everything looks really good. And so then we start talking about what I'm capturing the video for. She starts telling me that they're really hesitant about letting people, especially like a year ago, like having people come in and capture video. Then I started explaining, okay, I have a channel and I'm capturing this and this and this. And the stuff that I captured from RH last year on my phone, that's the stuff that's doing really well right now, or doing the best right now on the channels. And so I'm like, well, I figure if I capture the rooms with my DSLR, you know, the quality can be better, right? She was really helpful. And so I think that I have more showrooms on my list to hopefully capture. And it's always about building those business relationships with the staff. You have to build trust because the price point throughout the showroom is like through the roof. So they're always, rightfully so, making sure that, no one's coming in doing something that, they're not supposed to do. And so for me, I went ahead and emailed them the footage that I captured as far as the finished one that I posted online or on my channels. And so that they'll know this is where the work is going. This is what I'm doing with the work. And again, it just helps establish trust, but it's just going in business casual, present yourself the best way you possibly can. But as far as their customers that were walking around, they were in shorts and a t-shirt, flip-flops. I was shocked. The kids were running around, jumping on the chairs, jumping on this, and it's like, wow. And everybody was just, but again, it's just building that business relationship there where everyone's comfortable with you. But for me, it's like when I'm actually in the middle of capturing everything, it's like being a kid in the candy store. I just like seeing the new furniture, whatever with home decor. Um, it always interests me. It always interests me. And then if I can figure out how to capture that in an interesting way and share that with people, I mean, I think that's great. And of course, I told them that whatever I capture with them, I'll post. You know, their well, I'll tag them so that people know where I was. Because some people will ask, like, where was this couch? Where were those curtains? Like, where did you take this at? So yeah. Either tag them in directions or tag them with their name. Um, and I think YouTube just pulled up their address with their information down there as far as opening, closing, stuff like that. So their store hours or showroom hours. So all of that, I think I think it's just something that I want to do. Now, will I be able to do this full time? I don't think so. Um, but I think it's gonna be the third branch of what I do, right? Um, oh, I have gotten two more offers to show my work, the fine art photography, the wall art. Um, I'm considering them. I'm considering them, and that's a whole different subject. But yeah, so like I said, fine art photography, the writing, and then the interior design spaces. That's gonna be what's on YouTube, and yeah, just have fun with it as much as possible, uh, for sure. So I appreciate your comments, critiques, feedback, suggestions. I'm still learning, obviously, about how to grow the channel. And I feel like as I continue to visit places, and share the work, I feel like the channel is gonna grow. I just have to stick with it. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Just turn on the notification bell so that when I post other showroom videos, then you guys will know that it's up. Because it's there is really no set date. It's just capturing a lot of video on Saturday mornings and carving out time throughout the week to share them. So thank you guys. Take care.